welcome to another episode of the Wanderlust Wealth Show. Today, I have two fabulous human beings, Rich and Kathy Fettke, who are incredible real estate investors, entrepreneurs, and authors. Recently just released a new book, Scaling Smart. I am just so excited for you both to be here and to talk about just your whole entire journey and your book and everything.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it too.
Amazing. Well, so Rich and Kathy, in case anyone who's listening doesn't know you, like, who are you and who were you before the real estate investing and the businesses and the books?
Well, I'll let Kathy share that one since she...
We're co-founders of Real Wealth. We have over 77,000 members today. We've been helping busy professionals acquire real estate nationwide in the fastest growing markets with property management in place. Rich is our real estate broker. We have been offering free education for 20 years to really help people lift their, financial intelligence to be able to know a deal when they see it and be able to really plan well for their future so they can live life the way they want to.
Love that. Love that. And so before the real estate investing, before the books and everything, who were you guys?
I was a business coach and speaker, an author. I had signed a book deal with Simon & Schuster for a book called Extreme Success. And Kathy was a stay-at-home mom at the time, actually, and she's also a certified coach. So we were coaching and building that way. And then I was diagnosed with melanoma, skin cancer. Even though I look so tan, I'm sure you can't tell that I was with melanoma. But I was diagnosed with this, and which is usually not a big deal. You can have surgeries to remove it. But the doctors wanted a CT scan to make sure everything was okay. And they thought it had spread to my liver. So over the period of 3 months waiting for different tests and finally getting a PET scan, it was a scary time because an oncologist told me that I probably had 6 months to live. And so that's it was the impetus for Kathy to say, what am I going to do if Rich goes and he's not with us anymore? She's with our young kids, we had a 3-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old daughter. So it was a scary time. And so she's the one who went out and figured out, I need to find a solution here. So she had a small radio show at the time, and she was interviewing people about all different areas of life. And she shifted her focus to learning about financial freedom. How can she create financial independence and create passive cash flow so she could stay at home with the kids and also have money coming in? And that's how she discovered real estate.
I love that. I love that. And it's so interesting because I think a lot of people do end up getting into real estate during difficult times, right? Like it could be something that it might prevent them from being able to work anymore or whatever that looks like. And I'm always thinking of how do you get to that point where you actually take action before the detrimental thing happens, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess whenever you got started investing in real estate, what kind of real estate was that? What did that look like? Because I know so many people want to get started, but they're kind of in that analysis paralysis, inaction phase. How did you guys get started?
Well, we were kind of joking about it. We are entrepreneurs to the core. When we first got married, and even before we got married, we were renting a place to live, and we would rent it a little larger than we needed so that we could rent out rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So even before we owned real estate, we were landlords, so to speak, because renting out rooms really helped reduce the amount of rent that we had to pay. And we would usually put a little, mini kitchen, mini fridge, mini fridge and so forth. So we weren't actually sharing space. It was just like, this is your room. That's all you get. Then when we bought our first house, it was the same thing. We turned it into a 4-plex and house hacks. 20 years later, we are still house hacking. We live in our dream house, but we also have a guest house that we Airbnb right on the property, and that covers a lot of the expenses. So, we'll always find a good way to make money through real estate.
I love that because I remember I went on a hike with Ziona and we were chit-chatting and we were talking about you because she said she'd gone over to your house and we're talking about how it's like this big, beautiful house and you're still house hacking. I'm like, that is incredible because that's the kind of person that I'm going to be as well. For sure. I feel like I can never not house hack, honestly.
It's just when you're an entrepreneur at heart, you're just always looking for ways to make money. I mean, yesterday we had Tyler, the creator, rented the house out to create some new tunes.
Oh my gosh. Wait, that's so cool.
It's really cool. Yep.
An app called Pure Space where you could just rent your place out for the day for artists. So
yes. Well, so I recently just converted my garage into a podcasting studio, movie room. It's like still in the middle of getting converted. But my goal is, I'm house hacking here in Denver. It's a pretty large house. So there's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom basement and then a 5-bedroom main house. I don't need the 5-bedroom main house. I'm going to be in the 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And then there's a garage as well. So most of the house will be rented on Airbnb, but for whenever it's free, put it on Pure Space.
Right. No,
So smart. So smart. Yeah. I think we'll always be house hacking until the end, for sure.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, well, tell me now, so you got you got started investing in real estate kind of with house hacking and all of that. How did that progress? Because now you guys have done so much, more than I can even conceptualize. How do you go from, buying single family homes or duplexes, triplexes, those small multifamily to what you do now? And I think that kind of rolls into, your book and everything, which is about scaling smart. How did you guys do it?
Well, we did it the wrong way first. And in our book, we talk about the difference between scaling and growing. Well, a lot of people, and myself included, try to grow so fast before the systems are in place and then end up in total overwhelm. And then the thought of growing anymore is just disastrous. You don't want to. I just did a podcast earlier where people were like, I don't want to grow. First I wanted to grow, then I made a big mess and didn't want to, do it anymore. And that's the difference of growing where your expenses are growing and your resources are growing and all the things you need to grow the business grow so that it becomes more and more overwhelming versus scaling where you're still increasing your income, but you're actually reducing your expenses and being able to grow with less effort.
That's basically the concept of house hacking.
Good point. Yeah. Yeah. Really, when you look at it, it's kind of like scaling a property, if you will. Yeah. So we just started helping investors build their own portfolios. And that's how we built the business, was a referral network where we have brokers all over the country in emerging markets. And we help investors connect with those brokers with property so they can build their own real estate portfolios. And that's what we've done the last 21 years at Real Wealth. And now we've helped over 7,000 investors. We have over 77,000 members in our network, but over 7,000 rental properties our members have acquired. So it's pretty cool to watch that.
I love that. And how did you even come up with that business, right? Because I think most people, when they're thinking of starting a business in real estate, that probably isn't the first thing that they think of,
For sure. I mean, it started with Kathy as a mortgage broker. She became a mortgage broker back then. Luckily, it was a false diagnosis that the doctors gave me. The cancer had not spread to my liver, thank goodness. But it was that, that's what got her to move toward real estate. She became a mortgage broker and she was helping people get loans. And some of those people were getting loans for investment properties. Yeah. And so she was helping them that way, and then connected with a broker in the Dallas area. And well, Kathy, you should talk about Kiyosaki being on your radio show.
Oh my gosh, cool.
Yeah. Back in 2005, I was on a pretty major San Francisco radio station. So I was able to get some big names on the show. And this was before podcasts. So I was able to get Robert Kiyosaki. And at the time, I had become a mortgage broker because one of my sponsors was a mortgage broker. And the show ended up being so successful for him that he brought me in to learn the trade, basically. But I could see firsthand what was going to come of that. None of it made sense. People were getting loans they really shouldn't, that once they adjusted, it was really obvious they weren't going to be able to pay it, like a lot of commercial investors are experiencing today with their adjustable rates that have changed. But Kiyosaki could also see the writing on the wall, which was super obvious because back then you knew that those loans were going to start resetting in 2006, 2007, and then really pick up speed after that. So it was obvious what was happening. And he explained on the show, you can get out of the storm. Even if there's a storm coming, you can find safety. And the safety, he explained, was to get out of the high bubble markets, the areas where prices had gone up beyond sustainability, where once the loans adjusted, no one would be able to pay, and to And to go to a place where the home prices were still in line with salaries, and that was Dallas, Texas at the time. It's very expensive now, but back then, the median home price was like $124,000.
Oh my gosh, what a time.
Yeah, it was crazy. And the cash flow from rental properties covered the expenses even on a normal rate, not the teaser rate or, with the crazy loans. Like once the loan reset, the numbers would still work. So he just kind of explained, as long as you're in the path of progress, if you're in front of the growth, and you can follow the growth by following jobs, following demographics where people are moving and where it's still affordable and where cities are investing in themselves. So you can see the growth coming, then you'll be fine. You can weather the storm. So that's what we did.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And so out of curiosity, for your book, who is your book Scaling Smart for? Like at what point in their journey?
I should say someone who already has a business started. They know what they're doing. They're starting to grow things, and the business is kind of just becoming profitable or very close to it. I think that's what the book is really geared towards. Someone who wants to take their business to the next level, but at the same time, they don't want to add more onto their plate. They don't want to take more time. They want to create more freedom in their lives. So they want to increase their income and increase their revenues while at the same time freeing up more time for themselves to focus on living their lives and also focusing on doing what they do best and what they most enjoy. So that's the main focus of the book. So it's really a structure. It's almost like if we went back in time, if Kathy and I went back in time, maybe 15 years ago, we wrote this book for us back then. It's like how to get clear on what your business is about, what you really want from your business, the type of players you want on your team, how to structure things in your business, how to create an org chart that really fits you and your style of business, and creating a real clear business purpose. So it's for that person.
No, that's awesome. And so I know before you guys were talking about the difference between like growing and scaling. So how do people keep their expenses at bay when they are scaling? Like what are the big, mistakes that you see people making whenever they are trying to scale, but they end up growing, but not scaling?
Yeah. One is taking on too much debt. We're seeing that a lot with people who bought multifamily properties or commercial properties and took on not only a first lien, but a bridge loan and really, really levered up. We went through that. People knew better. We did that in the early 2000s, but more in residential. And so in commercial, that's what we're seeing is over leveraging and not really preparing, not having enough reserves on hand. So expecting things to go a certain way. Everyone had a business plan that they thought would work, but they didn't really have any room for error in there. They didn't have the reserves. They didn't anticipate that, hey, maybe we're not going to have 2% rates forever. They didn't anticipate that maybe rents aren't going to continue to rise forever. So, just thinking, here's the business plan. This is exactly how things are going to go. So I don't really need reserves.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's not good.
Yeah, and that's been a big lesson we hired an outsourced CFO several years ago to really look at our books, to give us, we meet with that CFO once a month to really go over our numbers. How do we do for the month and where are we? And that CFO pointed out that we should have a certain amount of reserves for our business. And it's the same thing for a portfolio. It's like to have that set point and say, okay, we're never going to let this set point of available cash get below this level. And if you do, then you really got to start looking at, okay, where do we need to cut expenses? Where can we change things? Or what do we need to sell and be able to weather the storm?
Totally. And so I guess how much should people be putting away in reserves in terms of percentages? Like, is there a specific percentage, or does it kind of just depend on how big your business is and how that's structured? Just kind of curious there.
I think it's similar in business or real estate. It's, a minimum of 3 months, but 6 months is ideal. So it's like, if there's a downturn in your business, that you're basically taking your monthly operating expenses, multiplying that times 6, and that's the amount you should have in liquid assets. So to be able to weather any storm. So just like real estate, if you were to, all your tenants were to vaporize or go away, or we had a pandemic where people stopped paying rent, being able to weather the storm for 6 months and be able to control the asset and keep up with those mortgage payments or whatever it is, or loan payments, 6 months, I would say.
Totally. So I guess, what are you seeing in the market now, right? Because I feel like over the last couple of years, COVID kind of threw a wrench in a lot of people's plans in terms of investing in real estate. And we've kind of seen a very weird market over the last 2 years. So especially with the elections coming up and then interest rates have started to come down, what are you guys seeing is working now in comparison to the last few years?
Well, I can tell you with all certainty that we have absolutely no idea what's coming. Right. We have no idea. And the pandemic created a big wobble. So a lot of the data that we've been looking at is just confusing because it's like an earthquake happened. We had a lot of job growth, but really it was jobs coming back. So was it job growth? Or was it just people coming back out from after being hidden away during the pandemic? So it's been really hard to collect data. And now we're at a pivot point where the Fed has been raising rates in order to create job loss, in order to not have so many job openings, because that can create inflation. When people have so many options of where they work, then generally employers have to pay them more to get them. That's the philosophy around that. And if people have more money, then they spend more money, and that creates inflation. So that's what they've been sort of going after. And now we're starting to see that jobs, or the job openings, are kind of where they were pre-pandemic. What we don't know is if the downward spiral is going to continue. We don't know if there's going to be more job losses. We don't know what 2025 will bring. So in a world where there's so much uncertainty, which it really has been for the last, 100 years,
right?
Really,
really.
The last few for sure. You can. That doesn't mean you can't move forward. You just have to be more cautious. For example, one of the things that what we know for sure is that there are more people who would like to live in a home, whether they own it or rent it, than there are homes available. We know that there is, some people say 1 million, some people say 7 million, but there's a shortage of homes. And when there's a shortage of homes, that tends to mean that there's competition and prices go up. And that's what we've seen, even with interest rates higher. We're about to see interest rates probably come down. They've already come down a bit. That could mean that there's more people that will be jumping into an already scarce supply of housing. So we look at it like, we can solve this problem of lack of affordable housing and still, as Kiyosaki had said, weather the storm. So how can you provide something that people want and need at a price that they can afford at a time like this? And that's what we're looking at. And there is opportunity.
Yeah, no, that is so real. And that's the thing. It's just, I think like in every market, there's always opportunity to be found. It's all about like surrounding yourself with the people who are currently doing it and just being extra cautious. But I think the thing is that especially before COVID, during early COVID, when interest rates were so low, people were just not as cautious because the interest rates were so low. But that wasn't the norm, right?
Yeah.
That was this weird magical fairyland.
Totally.
Oh my gosh. So I guess what keeps you two motivated to keep writing books and providing like all of this information?
Okay, y'all, do I have something exciting for you? Now, I just came out with a brand new free training on exactly how you can get started investing in real estate within the next 3 months. Because if you're someone who wants more freedom in your life, the ability to travel the world and do the things that you actually want to do in life, you're going to want to listen up. Trust me. Now, this training is freaking awesome. I literally go in and spill the tea on the number one strategy that is working right now, like literally today in today's market. And I go over how to look at deals and make sure that they actually cash flow, and how to set your properties up so that you can run them from anywhere in the world. Like I literally have managed my properties from over 6 different time zones. So if you are stuck in analysis paralysis. You don't know where to start when it comes to real estate investing, but you know that it's something that you want to do in the future. This training is going to be for you. So to check it out, click the link in the show notes or DM me the word hack, like HACK on Instagram, and I will send you the link. Now let's dive back into the show.
I guess it's our purpose.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, it's like we're now in our 6th decade of life. So we've learned some lessons and we've actually acquired a little bit of wisdom through that. So being able to bring that to other people, I've always loved coaching people. I feel like that's my purpose, is especially one-on-one coaching. And so being able to do that through the written word or through podcasts like this or anything like that, being able to see people move and grow and create. That's why we called our company Real Wealth, because our purpose is to help people create real wealth. And that goes beyond money. It's about being able to live life on your own terms, being able to have the money and the freedom, all that. So it aligns with us, it aligns with our brand. And now it's like we have such a great team running our company that it allows Kathy and me to get out there and be ambassadors of our brand and to work on special projects and to write books together or to speak together. So it's a pretty cool thing to do as a couple.
Yeah, we've been educating for 30 years. That's what Real Wealth does and has provided. So it's not really that new. But what is new is this self-managing company that we're so excited to teach how we got here. How did we get to a point where we could probably disappear for a year or two and everything would be totally fine. In fact, possibly even better. So when BiggerPockets approached us and said that they had done a survey and people really wanted to know how to scale a company and create a self-managing business because they're feeling overwhelmed and aren't sure how to hire people and aren't sure how to, keep them happy and motivate them to work as hard as, you do as the owner. We have that. We have people that work harder than we ever did. I mean, they're so bought in. So it was just kind of like, okay, this must be the next phase of education of just showing how we were able to achieve what felt like the impossible just 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember, all those questions, like, I don't want to grow. This is too hard. Why would I want more hard in my life? And so we were very happy to be able to take some of the lessons learned over the years and share them with people who maybe are in the same place we were then.
Completely. And okay, so let's paint a picture. Like, what does a self-managing company really look like? Like, is there a way to kind of give people an idea of what that kind of looks like?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, a self-managing company means that you have self-managing teams, and it means you have self-managing people in your company. So it's all about hiring the right people, having an A team. And we go into that in the book, how to recruit and onboard your A team. So it's finding people that are in alignment with your purpose, like I mentioned earlier. So you want to be very clear on your company purpose, and then you want to get very clear on your company vision, where you want to go, so people buy into that. And then you want to get very clear on your company mission, which is more of it's taking your purpose of bringing it into the shorter term, like maybe over the next 3 to 5 years. Where do we want to be on this date? What will we have achieved? For us, it's to help investors acquire over $3.5 billion in real estate by the year 2030. Right now, we're at about 1.4, right about there.
That's
as far as that.
Wild.
So we kind of scale it out and look at what can we create. And what that does is it creates these inspired self-managing leaders in your company who are all about, let's make this purpose happen. How can we contribute? How can we honor our values? And then building into that, making it an entrepreneurial company where everyone is, we have a saying at Real Wealth. We said, as real wealth grows, your wealth grows, because everyone is on a profit sharing plan where the better we do, the better everyone does. Everyone in our company gets part of our profit sharing every single quarter. So not only do they feel like it's their business, which it is, but it's also them following the purpose of making a huge difference.
Yeah. That is so cool. What do you see is one of the key things that people don't have in place that kind of, puts them off track whenever they are trying to scale?
Want to take that one, Kath? Or?
Say it again.
Yeah. So like, is there a specific system or something that people don't have in place whenever they're trying to scale that kind of throws them off track and they don't even realize it?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of what Rich just said. We just did some live coaching earlier on the market. It was really fun coaching our co-hosts. And it starts with number one, what are your personal values? Why are you doing this? What matters to you? Because your company is going to be a bit of a reflection of you. Mm-hmm. And so the more clear you are about where you're headed, for us, it's real wealth. You're not going to see us taking pictures in front of a fancy car. You're going to see us play with our grandkids and rock climbing and surfing and really doing the things that matter to us. And we wanted to build a company that supported that. And we wanted our employees to experience that as well. What's it like for them to experience real wealth? And we have one employee who traveled for 5 years all over the world while working full time for us. She was totally living real wealth. And then that passes all the way down to our clients. We want our clients, our members of Real Wealth, to experience real wealth, right? What does that mean for them? What matters to them? Until you have that clarity, you're just going to be chasing your tail. So that's the first thing. Second thing is then what is your company about? What's the mission, the purpose, the values of the company? Who are you serving? And once that is so clearly defined, then you attract people who are excited about that too. So, the people who work at Real Wealth are so excited when our members create real wealth. They can't wait to do more of that. They can't wait to jump out of bed and help more people while they're also helping themselves. So knowing how you want to live and what your values are, knowing how the company can support that and how you're serving is first and foremost. And then after that, it's the people, really taking care of the people who are going to make that mission happen. They're the ones who are going to take the project there. And too many company owners act like people want to work for them just so that the company owner can get rich and live their dreams. And, that's not what people aren't going to be loyal to you just to make your dreams happen.
Yeah.
So bringing in the team and really finding out what they want and how they will thrive and being a part of the profit sharing. The profit sharing program has been, just a game changer for us where they are so committed to reaching goals and KPIs and making sure that everyone is pulling their weight to get to the goal because everyone benefits when that happens.
Yeah. No, I love that. So one of my best friends, she works for me in my coaching business. And the way we have it structured is she just gets a percentage of total revenue. But it motivates both of us because we both want to, create something and really put our all into it. But I think having it be a percentage just makes it she feels like she is part owner of the company too,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I love what you said about really thinking about what do you actually want as well, right? Because a lot of times when we are building these businesses, it is to kind of create more freedom in our lives. And so I know for me, with my coaching business, I love it so much. But my big thing is my birthday week, everyone's on vacation.
Oh, that's
I don't care. And my birthday week's coming up. Part of why I'm not going to BPCon is I'm going to Argentina for my birthday. And I've got friends going, and even my best friend who works with me and in my business, she's coming too. It's everyone gets vacation.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, to piggyback off what Kathy just said, to flip it over, if you will, about what's missing for most people, number one is they don't have a blueprint for what they want their business to look like. They don't take the time. They're so busy working in the business that they don't take the time to really create what is it that we're about? Where do we want to go? Setting up their projections, setting up their organizational chart up for the future of where they want to be. So that's one of the big things that we see missing. And then the second thing we see missing is leadership skills. You can't run a self-managing business if you're not a great leader. So you got to focus on that. You got to work on how can I be a better leader? How can I have effective conversations with the people on my team? How can I empower the people on my team instead of being a detractor and, trying to get in there and do everything yourself? You have to be able to learn how to lead and empower people to really, run their area of the business and give them some autonomy and accountability. But so it comes back to leadership skills.
So how do you gain leadership skills? Because like I used to think when I was in corporate, right? Like I thought I was a pretty decent leader, right? But I didn't really understand what that meant until I really owned my own business. It's like, oh, this is a lot more people. Man, there's so many more things that go into it, and emotions and empowerment. So how do you even gain those leadership skills?
Oh, it's a great question. I mean, we devoted 2 chapters to it in Scaling Smart, all about how to be a better leader. But bottom line, and for me, it's learning and then practice. So I'm constantly reading a business book on how to be a better leader. One of those great books that really was a game changer for me is a book called Multipliers by Liz Weissman. And the subtitle, I think it's How the Best Leaders Make Everyone Smarter. So it's just being able to turn yourself into a multiplier, which is not coming in and micromanaging, really learning how to be that grounded, humble, clear leader, and then practicing communication skills. When Kathy and I went through our coach training, we really learned how to ask powerful questions and really draw out from people their expertise instead of saying, okay, this is the way you're going to do it, and this is the way I do it. That's more of a mentor. So I think learning powerful communication skills also really helps leadership.
Oh yeah, Kathy, did you have something else to add?
I was going to say, it's a really hard transition for an entrepreneur to go from being the doer and doing everything in the business and being somewhat of a control freak generally, right? To suddenly managing people. And that's not necessarily what you signed up for. You signed up to do the thing that you were doing, whether it's, let's say it's flipping homes and you just love going out and finding homes and fixing them up. And all of a sudden you find too many and you've got too many deals going and you've got to hire people. You don't have a company unless you have employees. You are a solo entrepreneur and you can't replace yourself. That is not creating a self-managing company. That's creating a job for yourself. So when you make that transition to being a solo entrepreneur to being a business owner, if you do not learn how to manage people, you will fail. It's really that simple. And so many of us just don't like doing it or don't want to do it, but it's part of the deal. And if you don't have those skills, like Josh Dorkin, I'm not saying he did or didn't have the skills, but he was the founder of Bigger Pockets. He figured out pretty early that transition from being the starter, the founder of this great idea, to then taking it to the next level, it needed someone else to be the manager. Yeah. That's when he brought in Scott Trench. He was wise enough to know that somebody else's skills are needed. When we interviewed people for Scaling Smart, that's when things changed for them too, when they started to bring in those specialists that could do things better than they could do themselves.
Yeah, no, that is such a good point. What are some traits that you think, or what is a trait that you have that you think has made you super successful? Phrase that a little differently.
No, I get it. I mean, for me, the transformational thing for me was learning how to lead a team. I opened a health club when I was 23 years old and was, again, doing it on my own. I had 2 other business partners and we were trying to do everything ourselves. And then I started to learn on how to create systems and all that. But more importantly, how to lead a team of people, how to communicate with them effectively, to find out what inspires them, how to hold them accountable. So for me, I think that's been the biggest thing because I've been able to expand beyond myself by being a better leader.
Love that. How about you, Kathy?
For me, it was getting out of my own way, and that was really hard. I was the bottleneck on a lot of things. I was still micromanaging. I was bypassing managers, going straight to their employee, to their people that they were managing, telling them what to do or how I wanted things done instead of empowering our leadership team to do it. So being able to just trust and make sure that the systems are in place, and if they're not, that they keep improving as we go, and so that we could empower those leaders to make decisions so that I didn't have to be the one making all the decisions and being the bottleneck.
Yeah. Ugh, I love that. Well, we are heading into the final 3 interview questions that I ask every single person that comes on the podcast. So number 1, what does your ideal perfect day look like? And maybe you guys are living it already.
Oh, I think we are. But for me, it would start out, early morning surf session, come back, maybe take a cold plunge, get some morning sunshine. I would like to say meditation, but I'm not great at it, but that would be a good way. Doing the miracle morning and sticking with it, having a good, healthy breakfast, starting work around 10 or 11, and just kind of checking in with the team to see how they're doing, in our L10 meetings and so forth. But then being able to end the day early to go see my grandbabies. That sounds like a perfect day.
So
yeah,
cute.
I would almost have to say ditto that, maybe replace I love the surfing too, but maybe on a different day, it might be heading out on the slopes for some skiing or heading out for some rock climbing or some type of an active adventure always lights me up. And that's part of real wealth for me. And then, time with the people I love, having fun and connecting. And then for me, I get super jazzed, seeing people do what they don't think they can do. So, encouraging people, coaching them, and inspiring them, whether that be out on the rock climbing or surfing or anything like that, all the way to business of, helping someone and coaching someone, getting up in front of the room and giving a talk, and then they do it and they deliver and they blow themselves away, and just like how well it went. That Kathy has seen many tears in my eyes when that happens.
He doesn't cry when he's sad, but man, he cries when he's so proud of someone.
Me right here,
I love that so much. I love that. And I also very much feel that about getting outside. Like part of why I moved, one of the main reasons why I moved back to Colorado is like, I just love the mountains. I love hiking. I love climbing. I love skiing. And it's like every day it's sunny here. So how can you not be happy?
Right. Yeah. You live in the cathedral.
Yeah. Okay, second question. What is your mantra?
Ooh.
Or just something you tell yourself over and over again?
Honestly, mine, when I boil it down, the thing I say the most to myself is, you got this. Mm-hmm. Whether that be, a huge wave that's coming at me, about to surf it, or hanging on the side of a rock, or whatever it is, it's like, I got this. Or it's about to go up and give a keynote speech. So my mantra is usually that, I got this.
Love it. How about you, Kathy?
Mine is usually just listen to your heart, like what really matters. If something's blowing up, or, an employee did something that maybe didn't work out so well, it's like, well, what really matters? That this thing didn't go well, or that, we're going to do better next time. It's just, people get worked up over things that really don't matter so much. And so we've got to remember what matters. I constantly trying to remind myself.
It's hard sometimes. It is hard.
Yeah.
I love her.
And I guess ending with, literally, I ask this question all the time, but like, what does wealth mean to you? And I know like your whole company is called Real Wealth. So what does it actually mean for you?
Oh, real wealth to me is really having control over my time and having enough money to do the things that I want to do and to give to the people that I want to give to. I'm so grateful that I'm able to help my sister. Rich and I are able to help my sister at this time who's struggling, to be in a position to provide housing to her while she's going through chemotherapy is just, feels really good.
I love that.
Very similar for me. It's like a 10 in all areas of life is real wealth, and what real wealth really means to me. It's like when everything's working: spirituality, relationship, family, fun and recreation. When all of those things are just working and cranking. That's what wealth is to me.
I love that. Well, so thank you so much for being on the show today. Like, where can people find you? Where can they find your book? What's the best way for them to get everything Rich and Kathy?
Real Wealth. Yeah. Realwealth.com is where you find it all. We have over 500 free educational webinars. It's free to join. We have referrals to these teams across the country who can help our members build their real estate portfolios in these fast growing markets with property management in place that we've worked with and vetted. Our syndications are there. And then, of course, the Real Wealth Show is my podcast. And then Scaling Smart, you can get on Amazon.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. This was an absolute blast. And I know it's going to inspire so many.
Thank you.
Thank you so
That was
much.
fun.
Thank you so much for listening to Wanderlust Wealth Show. Now, don't forget to follow the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you love this episode, it would literally mean the world to me if you shared this with a friend or a family member, or literally like anyone off of the street. Like right now, go ahead, share it so you don't forget, or post it on social media and make sure to tag me. I love seeing what you're listening in on and what you resonated with, and I'm just so freaking thankful for you. I'm so freaking excited for you. I love you. And don't forget, life really doesn't have to be hard.